Welcome to BODS Mayhem Hour, your source for all hard rock, heavy metal, new metal, alternative, punk, horror punk, hardcore, rock, and all local bands, with your host, John the Bod, a.k.a. the Bodfather.
Hey everybody, welcome to BODS Mayhem Hour. I'm your host, John the Bod, a.k.a. the Bodfather, and as always, I'm bringing you guys awesome interviews. Today it is an honor and privilege to have Brian, the guitarist of 10 years, on the line with me right now. He's also played drums for 10 years, if I'm not mistaken, as well. So we're going to be talking to Brian about 10 years' sixth studio album called How to Live as Ghosts. And it's the current album that's still out as of right now. And this is good stuff from 10 years. I've been a big fan of 10 years ever since it came out. So, Brian, how's it going?
It's good, man. It's good. Just got it. Did almost 2 weeks in Canada, and you know, we got there after spring had started, and then it actually got down to negative 22 in Dawson Creek. So not very spring-like, but we're happy to be in Montana right now for a show, and you know, lots of good stuff coming up for us this year.
Wow. Yeah, that's crazy, man. I'm sick of this cold weather. I'm in Kentucky, and it's snowing here today, so.
Oh yeah.
I think Mother Nature and Old Man Winter need to hook up or something, get it over with.
Yeah, I know, it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. But then here pretty soon we'll be complaining about how hot it is.
Oh, not me. Not me. No way. No, sir. No, sir.
Yeah.
So how's it feel to be back in the band, man? I mean, you've been gone there for a little bit, but now you're back. So how's it feel to be back with everybody?
Well, it's good. In 2013, the band, just the state of the band was just kind of toxic, and no one was really having fun. And I always told myself that playing music for a living is so special that if I'm not out there having fun, it doesn't justify me being away from my family. So I came home, and at that time, my wife actually had some complications with her pregnancy, and we had a child really, really prematurely. So we spent the first year of my youngest daughter's life in and out of the hospital. So that was a tough time. I didn't know what my future would look like as far as music is concerned. But then around 2016, after I'd been gone for a few years, the band had decided to make a big change. And there was a longtime member of the band that was kind of the centerpiece of a lot of the conflict and negative energy in the band. And when he was let go, I think it was a new beginning for the band. So myself and Matt Wantland, our other guitar player who left in 2009, we both came back, and he and I were always the main writers in the band from day one, basically. So I think it does feel like a fresh start. And now that we're older and a bit more mature and much more level-headed, I think that we're just, reinvigorized, and everything feels great now, and we're excited to be doing this again.
I hope the little one is doing really good now these days, and hope there's no more problems with her, man.
Yeah, I mean, the first year and a half or so was really challenging and unpredictable too, because when a baby's born more than 3 months early, you just you don't know all the potential issues right off the bat. You just kind of have to let time do its thing, and then you see. And luckily now she's 3 and just absolutely kicking ass. So
That's
she's
awesome. Doing
great. And my wife, after a while, was basically like, okay, honey, I think you need to get back to doing what you do. So, it was a good time for me to get back out and make this record and get back to doing what I love.
Man, like I said, I before I forget, I would just want to say this. Like I said, I've been a huge fan of 10 years, and two songs that really caught my eye with you guys and resonated with me a lot was Cast It Out and Wasteland. That is some great, great music from you guys.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Now, I just want to ask you this, because I thought this is really cool, what Jesse had said, and I quote, Jesse had shared, it's funny, I named our last record From Birth to Burial from 2015 because he thought it was our final record. It just didn't feel like 10 years without you and Matt, and having them back is really a reunion of the core writing team. How much what does that say to you, man, from Jesse, and how much does that mean to you?
Well, I mean, it does mean a lot because, from day one in the very beginning of doing this, well, actually, believe it or not, 10 years, we originally started in 1998, and we had a different singer back then until Jesse came in 2001. And ever since 2001, it's been such a collaborative effort, whether it be musically or even vocally, on how we get these songs. Like Jesse and I work together closely on the vocals, and I usually let him run with it. And then if he gets stuck anywhere, or if I just have any ideas that I think are really great, then I bring those to the table. But it's the unit of it is that's what really makes the sound of the band. So From Birth to Burial was a tough time because actually I was producing and mixing that album, and that's right when my wife had gone into the hospital when we found out that she was having issues with the baby. So I had the wife in the hospital. The band was because I had left touring months before that, but I still agreed to work on the record. So I was finishing up that album, and everything just felt so out of place at that time. And so, yeah, we kind of did think that it could have been the end for the band because it just wasn't in a good state at that time. But I think the elephant in the room sometimes is harder to see than you think. And, again, making the change in the lineup is what really brought things back to square one and made us feel right again. So, yeah, having Matt and I come back along with, sitting there and working with Jesse, it really made making How to Live as Ghosts a simple, fun, and exciting process.
And that's what it should be. It should be fun. It should be getting it right with your brothers and just having a good time with all this. It shouldn't be stressful.
Exactly. Well, and Jesse has a lyric from a song that was a B-side from the Autumn Effect album called Patiently. And the line in that song is, when passion turns professional, it kills the mood. Mm-hmm. And I still reference that so much because, when you start a band and it's not a business yet, it is just for fun and to be creative and to scratch that itch. And then all of a sudden you have a record company and managers and accountants and booking agents. And now all of a sudden this thing that you started only for fun and because you love it, you have all these cooks in the kitchen and everybody's looking over your shoulder. And that's the part that as an artist, it's easy to let those elements distract. The tough part is figuring out how to completely push those things aside and not let any of those invade your creative space. And when we were younger, it was tougher to do that. But now that we're older and we've been in the game for a while, we started the band, like I said, in 1998. So after all this time now, we finally understand how to find that balance between being the artists that we started out as and then also running a business and keeping a head on our shoulders.
What's impressed you the most about making the new album, How to Live as Ghosts? What's caught your eye about, if anything, Brian?
I think that because the last handful of albums, really they were written with I wrote all the music and then some of the vocals, and then Jesse would write the rest of the vocals. And it was a very closed-off thing, and it was very internal, just Jesse and I. And I think that the thing that strikes me the most about the new album is that we abandoned that approach, and we just said, hey, let's everybody get in a room, let's set up like we're on stage, and let's just jam until songs happen. And when we did that, we noticed that literally we could get in a room together, and then within, sometimes 20 minutes, we'd have a song, that started from nothing. And there was a chemistry there. And not to mention that, because we were having so much fun and it just felt easy. And, the process is never easy, but compared to some of the records that we've made in the past, this one was just a lot more fun and easygoing. Relaxed is probably a good word to use for that.
See, and there's the key word again, folks, fun. That's what it's all about.
Yep. Yep.
How was working with producer, Grammy Award winner Nick? And I could never pronounce these producers' last names right. But I'll take
it's Rasculinix.
Yes, there you go, Rascalencies. Okay, close enough. I mean, he's worked with Alice in Chains and Foo Fighters, Deftones, Korn, and Mastodon. How was working with him?
Well, he's an incredible producer. The crazy thing is that, I mean, we didn't know him personally before we made this record with him, but believe it or not, on the street that I grew up on in Knoxville, Tennessee, it was me, Nick Rasculinix, and Brian Bell from Weezer. We all lived off the same street in Knoxville.
Holy shit.
Yeah, pretty crazy. So Brian Bell from Weezer, he's the lead guitarist in Weezer. He moved to L.A. See, those guys are a little older than I am, so I didn't know them growing up. But he moved to L.A. first before Nick, and he actually helped Nick get his first big studio job in L.A. at Sound City. And then, obviously, now we know the catalog that happened after that with Nick going on to work with, Foo Fighters and all those other bands you mentioned. So we have that hometown connection. And the cool thing with Nick is that he's such a great rock producer, and he told us from day one that our biggest problem usually is that we overthink and we try to overdo everything. And he wanted us just to make a straightforward, ass-kicking rock record. And I think the first single, Novocaine, is probably the biggest and best example of Nick coming in to us and just being like, hey, that riff in this song, that idea is really cool. Let's go here with it. And we just let him take the ball and run with it. And, if we had been left alone and I was producing this album, Novocaine probably would have ended up being a longer song with more parts and just more stuff going on. But he had the outside ear and the vision to tell us when enough was enough. And, for us, that song's only like 2 minutes and 45 seconds or something like that, which is probably shorter than any other song we have. But, he said, that's it. You don't need anything else. Get in, get out, kick their ass, and, that's it. And so he was really good at keeping us from overthinking.
Did he push you guys hard on this album, or did he just let you go and then just step in when he needed to?
No, he did. He pushed us hard, and one of his biggest strong suits is pre-production and arrangement. So before we recorded a single note, he had us set up as a band and sit there in the big room at the studio, and he made us play through the songs a million times. And then he would make notes and say, okay, on this song, try the bridge as the chorus and then move the verse to here. And he had us try a bunch of different things. And it was really cool. I mean, all of his ideas were great. And then the ones that we didn't agree with, we would just say, hey, let's meet in the middle somewhere or whatever. So, sometimes it's tough for the creators. In our case, having someone tell us that something that we did maybe wasn't, as good as it could be. But at the end of the day, we were thinking, if this guy's worked with all the greats, and if Dave Grohl trusts him, then, who are we to not trust him? So we definitely let him steer the ship most of the time.
Any songs off the new album, Brian, that stand out more to you than any as of right now? Possibly. I mean, if you can pick any at all.
They're all, I mean, I hate to use that same cliche, but they are all like children to us. And some of the songs, like, for instance, Blood Red Sky, that one is one of my favorites on the album. And that was on a solo EP that I put out a handful of years ago. And we ended up taking that, and then Jesse tweaked some of the vocals, and that one turned out really cool. I really love the song Vampires. That one is one that we just started playing live on this recent tour, and it's going really well. That one seems to be a fan favorite. And Jerry Cantrell from Alice in Chains said that that's his favorite song on the record, too.
Wow, that's high praise. That's really high praise right there in my book.
Yeah, absolutely.
How much growth musically have you seen yourself and this band go through since the formation up to this? Or has it just been more of a personal growth for all of you guys?
Well, it's both. It's kind of, they run in parallel, I think. I think we're growing individually, and then as a band collectively, we're also seeing growth there. It's it's an interesting thing because, albums are just snapshots of where we're at a particular time. And I think that How to Live as Ghosts is the album that we really needed to make at that time. who knows what the next album will sound like or the one after that. But I do think that we're all growing as players, as writers, and as communicators with each other, because a big part of keeping a band successful and making a successful record is communication. And when we were 25 and drunk, it was much more challenging to communicate in a healthy way with one another. But, you fast forward a few years, and now that we've kind of got those juvenile antics out of the way, we're definitely communicating better, and I think all it's doing is making us stronger.
Do you do anything differently to help keep your mind open and fresh to, during the writing and recording process to not let the music get stale? Because I know at some points it does do that, because it has to. I mean, you're doing this all the time, but do you do anything differently?
The one thing that we've done in the past was we said that we wouldn't listen to any other music while we were making the record because we didn't want any outside elements to influence us, things like that. But really, honestly, not so much that we haven't changed things in the process too much, other than just really trying to push to make sure that the songs are as good as they can possibly be. And whether that's musically or maybe it's a lyrical thing or whatever, but with 10 years, it's a very analytical process. So we'll stop and make sure that every word makes sense and that every context works and all that. So I think that we're just taking good care to make sure that the songs are as good as they can be. And we're not afraid to try different things to get there. So even if we write a song and we hear it one way, when Nick would say, I don't know if that chorus is right or not, let's write a couple more choruses. So then maybe we have the same song, but we just write two alternate chorus ideas and try them out. And if they work, then cool. And if not, then, you just stick with the one that works the best. So, just always pushing.
What can fans expect at a show from the mighty 10 years who have not got to see you guys live as of yet?
Well, it's an honest rock show. And, in this day and age now, a lot of bands out there are, running heaps of tracks, and, you don't know what's real and what's not anymore. And I can tell you this, for better or for worse, when we get up there, we're getting up there and playing from our heart and soul, and it's real and it's rock. And, we try and convey the passion of the songs to the audience. And when we see the audience giving us that same energy and that same passion back, then it just makes for such a killer time and a killer show.
Now, we're living in the digital era of recording albums and plus social media. We're way long from the analog recording days. But do you guys like this, to do everything digital now to record albums and get out quicker to fans, and plus social media to reach more fans? Do you think that it helps more? Do you like this?
So we've talked about that a lot. And the age that we live in now, see, we're old enough in this band in our 30s now to where, growing up, I cleaned my room and did my chores to get that allowance so that every Saturday I could go to the mall and buy a CD so I could open that damn package up, smell the artwork and see it, and then pin it on the wall if it had a cool poster with it. I miss that unbelievably. Like, that to me is that was a huge part of my youth. But the unfortunate reality is that all that is just a thing of the past now, and we do live in a totally different age. And it's been weird to try and adjust to that because, social media and all that, I know it makes a big impact, but, none of us in the band have Snapchat or anything like that. And it's everything's moving so fast, and, it's just different. It's just a different world now. So I think that the thing that's good for social media and the way that things work now in the digital age is that your reach is endless. There's somebody across the universe can freaking hear your music and find you. But the other aspect of that is that there's no barriers to entry now. It used to be back in the day, you had to be signed to a big label to get an album out, and you wouldn't get signed if you didn't have the songs or the talent. And now, anybody in a bedroom with a laptop can release an album. So the sea has expanded quite a bit, and so it's harder to cut through. you know? So it's like artists are increasingly trying to find new ways to navigate that and to cut through all the noise on the internet, because all you got to do is scroll through your social media feed and you'll see a million things. So what are we going to do that's going to stand out? You know, that's the tough part. And, you know, back in the day, artists had MTV, and, you know, radio was bigger back then than it is now. So it's just a different world. We're still adapting. We're trying to figure out how to navigate it. I think there's pluses and minuses, but yeah, I still don't fully know how to even navigate it.
I remember talking to guys that played music back in the day, and they'd always talk about, we got to get a demo out. We got to get this out to some labels or radio stations, things like that. I remember that. So, yeah, it's funny how things are the way it is today, you know. Really, really odd.
Yeah. Yep. I agree.
What does 10 years bring to the table for music that's not out there as of right now, possibly in your own opinion?
Well, I mean, I think there's just a level of sincerity there that I appreciate the honesty that we try and really convey in our music, and you know, we understand that it's a business, but at the same time, if we're not happy, we're not going to do this. So every album and every song that we make it starts with us and ends with us, and we have to love it, man. So I think that's a big thing, that, you know, we're not writing songs with the sole goal of, okay, we got to get this on this radio station, or we have to try and make a video that will go to whatever. You know, we're not trying to chase fads, and we're not trying to chase fame. We're just writing songs that we believe in. And I think that honesty and sincerity really it translates in the songs.
Support-wise, is there a country or a location that stands out more or even shocks you that you guys get support from, possibly?
I'll definitely say that Texas is probably the state in the United States that likes rock the most. I think pretty much any rock band will tell you that anywhere in Texas, the shows are amazing. People come out in droves, and it's I don't know what it is, but they support it big time, and they're really, really enthusiastic. Now, the other one that shocked me was we played a headlining show in Moscow, Russia, and it was sold out, and the whole crowd sang every word to every song, not just the singles. So at that time, I was playing drums, and I was back behind the drum kit with tears just flying off my face, because I was like, I could not believe that not only was the show sold out, but these people were singing every word in a country that we had never even been to before. So that was really cool. Japan is also a country that supports us a lot. Like when we would show up and get off the airplane, and there's people holding signs for us at the airport, like, you know, fans and stuff like that. So it's really cool.
That's awesome, man. And see, there you go. I've said this before, and I'll say it again. It seems like, and I'm not knocking U.S. fans at all. I'm not doing that at all. All I'm saying is it seems like fans overseas, they get it more and they appreciate it more, seems like.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't have a reason for that, but I can definitely say that over in the UK, Europe, Asia, I mean, all those foreign countries, there's a connection that they have with music that just feels different than here. Now, there's obviously great shows here, and there's great markets here and all that stuff, but it's just, I don't know. It's just a different thing over in other countries. I'm not sure how to explain it.
What made you want to become a musician? What was that spark for you that said, yeah, that's what I want to do right there?
You know, it's weird because I never really truly even thought about it like that. Just music was always there. Music was always with me. Like my dad was a violinist in a symphony orchestra. And so between him raising me on classical music, and then my mom being into Elvis and the Beatles and stuff like that, it's like I had this mashup of classical meets American pop music going on all the time in our household. And from an early age, for some reason, I just I felt music and it made sense to me. And so when I got a guitar at a young age and a little drum set at a young age, it just was kind of there. So I think probably after the age of 4 or 5, it was one of those things where, you know, unconsciously I was kind of grooming myself to live this life.
as a fan of your guys' music, I would just like to say once again, thank you all for what you have done, and especially the music that you guys have put out there. Thanks, Brian.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me on, man.
Folks, How to Live as Ghosts is out right now. You want to get out and check that out. Plus, 10 Years is on tour right now, and let's see, you're doing shows with Shinedown in this moment, plus with Breaking Benjamin. Let's talk about that a little bit before I let you go.
Yeah, we just did about a week and a half with Shinedown and In This Moment in Canada, and those shows were, they were sold-out arena shows, so definitely can't complain there. And Brent from Shinedown is from Knoxville, so we grew up with him, and we've known him since the early days of doing this, which is, it's crazy, right, with us and Brent from Shinedown and Brian Bell from Weezer and Nick Raskillenix. There's something in the water in Knoxville, apparently. But so that was a great tour, and then we got Breaking Benjamin coming up this spring. We're hitting all those festivals. And actually, the guitar player Keith in Breaking Benjamin is from Knoxville.
And I'll tell you something
Isn't
else
that crazy?
I'll tell you something else even weirder, too. Some members of Korn live in Tennessee. Even Megadeth is living in Tennessee.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Maybe Tennessee's the next Hollywood. Who knows? Who knows, folks?
I know. Well, Nashville is certainly becoming bigger and bigger every year. So, but yeah, so this summer we got the festivals coming up. So getting to share the stage with Tool and Perfect Circle, Alice in Chains, and bands like that. And then we're also going to be out with Seether this summer.
Brian, how can folks stay in touch with you guys? Buy this new album that's out, tickets, tour dates. How can they do that, my friend?
10yearsmusic.com is the website, and then obviously Instagram, Facebook, 10 Years Music. That's where they can find us, and we're all over those, making silly videos and stuff like that. So definitely give us a follow on the socials, and hopefully we'll see you out on the road.
Brian, before I let you go, would you care to do a promo for the show?
Yeah, no problem. Hey, this is Brian from 10 Years, and you're listening to BODS Mayhem Hour.
Everybody stick around. We got some great music coming up, and you only hear these interviews right here on BODS Mayhem Hour and BODS Mayhem Radio Network. Thank you so much, Brian.
You got it, man. Thanks so much.